Oftentimes, video and e-learning courses is a passive activity. However, with Storyline, you can quickly add interactivity to your video, enabling a more engaging user experience. For example, in this project, I want the learner to be able to click and learn more about what's happening in the video. As you can see, information icons appear that the learner can click, and when they do so, the video is paused in the background, and contextual information is presented. The learner can read the information, and when they are done, they can close out, and the video will begin playing once again, and other icons will appear here on the screen. Creating this dynamic in Storyline is really fun, and it is really easy to do. Let's go take a look. I'm here in Storyline, and I have a video on a slide, and my first step is to determine where do I want my information icons to appear. What I'm going to do is select the playhead and scrub through my video and make note of where I want those icons to appear here on the timeline. Let's say I want one at the 3-second mark. Well, to give myself a good visual indicator, what I'm going to do is press the C key on my keyboard, and that is going to insert a cue point. These are good visual indicators that help me develop and keep track of where I want these to appear. 1, 2, 3. Now this is a great time as well, and this is a good production tip. It'll be a time saver for you in the long run to take a step back and examine your project. I know that I have 3 points where I want information icons to appear, so I'm going to need 3 icons. I'm going to be creating 3 icons here on the screen. Now, when the user presses one of those icons, I know that I want information to appear. Well, where is that information going to appear? Where's it going to be placed? It's going to be placed on a slide layer. So I know that if I have 3 icons, I'll need 3 corresponding layers. Here's the production tip. Do not go ahead and quickly create 3 icons and 3 layers. What we're going to do is we're going to start with one of each. So let's begin. I'm going to insert an icon right here. And I know that I want this icon, remember, to appear right about there at that first cue point. That's where those cue points come in handy. I can align it to that cue point. Now you'll notice that it is existing all the way to the end of the timeline. I don't want that to be the case. What I want to have happen is that I want this icon to disappear before this next one would appear. So what I can do, I'll move this up so you can see, I'm going to right-click the item in the timeline, and I'm going to deselect Show Until End. This will allow me to bring this all the way back here and have it disappear before the next icon will show up. But once again, don't go ahead yet and create your next icon. What I'm going to do now is I want to have information, after the learner clicks this, have information appear on a slide layer. Let's go ahead and create that slide layer. We'll call that information layer 1. And I come back to my base layer here, and I'm going to create a trigger. The trigger is for this icon that says show layer, information layer 1 when the user clicks this icon. So I want the user to click this icon when it appears at the 3-second mark to show this information layer. And on this information layer, we want our contextual information to appear. So I'll give it a little background here for the information to appear on. Let's just type information, a little placeholder there for us. And we can go ahead and format this. Maybe we want to drop the transparency down. And when you do so, you'll notice that in the background, you see the icon there on the base layer. Now, I don't want that to be there. But what I can do is on the layer timeline, I can select base layer objects, deselect the oval, and now when this layer is active, you will not be able to see that on the base layer. So the learner is here, they're reading the information. When they're done, I need a way to close the layer. So I'm going to add a little icon here, and we'll add a trigger to this. And the trigger is going to say, let's hide this layer when the user clicks the oval. So let's preview this now. Let's preview this slide and see what happens. Around the 3-second mark, our icon appears. We click it, this information layer appears, perfect, and I can close it. Now you'll notice, however, that the video is not pausing. I want the video to pause. So this is really simple to do. On my information layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to select the properties, and on this layer, I'm going to select pause the timeline of the base layer. Now, we preview this again, and our dynamics are set. My icon appears, my information layer appears, and the video is now paused. I can hide this layer, and the video continues. Perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stylize the elements here in my video, and I will let you do the same. And then we'll come on back and I'll show you why we created just one of each element. I've gone ahead and added some changes to my elements. So I've got a hover state here, I've got some color changes taking place on the information panel. The reason I want to do this is that if I know I have multiple objects, if I create just one and get it looking how I want it to look, now all I have to do is come in and copy and paste again. And now I can move these objects quickly using my cue points to where I want them to be, move them about the screen where I want them to appear. Let's say this one was here. There we go. Now look at that. I can quickly arrange and adjust. I've got my 3 information icons. They're all ready to go. Same thing with the layers here. I can come into my layers. I can duplicate this layer twice. I can rename this information layer 2, information layer 3. Now the only change I'll have to make here, if I want those icons not to appear in the background, I can simply come down to the base layer objects, have them disappear and not be present. Perfect. There we go. Now all I have to do is come back to my base layer. Oval 1 shows information layer 1. Oval 2 is going to show information layer 2. Oval 3, information layer 3. And that is all there is to it. Now I have this great dynamic taking place. Information icon number 1 comes up. Information appears. I can close it out. Perfect. Now, one last step here. You'll notice that if I click on the video, it stops and starts. Video by itself in Storyline is very interactive. It's beautiful. However, in this case, I don't want the learner to be able to interact directly by clicking on the video itself. So I'm going to add a layer of cellophane over the top using a hotspot. I'm going to insert a rectangle hotspot, and I'm going to make sure that it appears underneath the icons, but over the video, so it's going to sandwich right in between the two. This is going to give your video a protective layer so the learner cannot interact with it. And there we go. I cannot click on the video itself, but I can click on these icons and have my contextual information appear. And that's all there is to it, folks. 3 information icons, 3 layers. The layers are set to pause the video on the base layer. And with Storyline, you have very quickly created an interactive video to engage your learners.